These thoughts up in my head. Things I never did. I took some L's, but I'm still here.
I got these thoughts up in my head. I toss and turn about some things I never said. I got regrets about some things I never did. I took some risks and took some L's, but I'm still here. And I know.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. I'm your host, Ed, and as always, journey with me as we pursue greatness in a world full of chaos. We are back at it again with another episode. This is episode 69, I think. We got confused because last week I didn't have a video put up. It is on Spotify if you did not get a chance to check that out. But reason being is because my video had messed up, so I had to make some changes. I ended up getting a webcam, so video might look a little different. I'm using a different platform. This is all new to me. But we just gonna work with what we got because that is pretty much all we can do anyway. So yeah, I guess that's what we're doing. So welcome. Anyway, if you are new here, if this is your first time experiencing the podcast, first of all, welcome. And just know that with this podcast, we just try to pursue greatness in a world full of chaos. We understand that there's all types of things going on. We get anxious, we overthink, we worry, but this podcast is hopefully going to help you kind of ease into this and not feel so stressed or so panicky or what may have you. So we want to make sure that you obviously are getting some type of quality through this. And I hope that with my words and through some of the things that we talk about, it could help you out. Now, if you're returning, what's happening? I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me. I want to thank all those who have liked, shared, comment, whatever it is that you do to show support. Thank you. Thank you so much. So how can you get in touch with the Overthinking Thoughts Pod? It's pretty simple. We stream on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We also stream on Spotify, which is like my main platform right now. So those are three places, along with any other streaming areas, which I found out recently. I'm kind of all over, but those are like my main three, of course. And then from socials, the very first thing you want to do is jump on YouTube. You're going to look up Overthinking Thoughts Pod. You're going to find the dope logo created by my brother, Ivy the Great. You're going to click on the subscribe. You're going to see all of my past and current videos that are there. So hopefully, if there's things that you missed or just additional stuff that you want to hear, I probably talked about it. So make sure you go back and check those out. I'm also, and as far as socials are concerned, you can find me over on Instagram at Overthinking Thoughts Pod. You can also find me on TikTok at Overthinking Thoughts Pod. And there's quick clips. Sometimes I do my own little like videos and things like that, but just try to give you a little quick fix. But that's that. So cool. Well, this week we're going to talk about something that I was kind of dwelling about, but I think this will help us out. We're calling this episode Down But Not Out. So one of the things that I think that we're stressing out about, or some of us are stressing out about, is the fact that we're 2 months into this 2024. And there are people who are progressing a lot quicker than we are. There are people who have found their aha moment and are now stepping into their purpose. And then there's some of us who feel like we haven't quite put ourselves in a position to really start going after what it is that we said we were going to do. And in fact, what it has actually done is given us a sense of a depressed state. And we're starting to struggle because we thought that by this time we would be in a completely different place than, say, where we were before. Now, all of a sudden, it seems like we haven't made any progress. And instead of reflecting on that and analyzing, well, where am I headed and what am I doing? I think what we're actually doing now is pulling ourselves down further and getting into a even deeper, darker, just sad state of, I just don't know what I'm going to do. And that's not good. That's not good because now not only are we harding our growth, but we might actually stop what it is that we're destined to do. There's so many people that put their dreams on pause for irrelevant reasons, small mistakes, minor mishaps, because it's always been done a certain way. And some of us just completely stop it and we never go back to what it is that we were supposed to do. The whole time you're sitting up there wondering, well, what's missing, what's wrong, what am I supposed to do? You were supposed to go back and achieve that. You were supposed to go and accomplish that, but instead you decided to put it to the side and not allow it to grow into what it was supposed to be. So now part of your process is being halted because you didn't take the time to take care of what you were supposed to do. We sit up there and then we become so upset with everything that's going around us, and then we start to dwell in our own sorrows and in our own thoughts because we're like, well, clearly, if this isn't working, then I guess I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And the reality is that's not true. It's not true. This world will deceive you into thinking that what you're doing is not correct, or because you haven't made a certain type of progress, then you're not meant to be wherever you're supposed to be. It doesn't work that way. I don't we put so much we put so much of our identity into worldly views and possessions that we end up losing the very person that we were supposed to be. We're trying so hard to fit in and be a part of this machine instead of standing out and going against the grain and doing what we've been called to do. And because we haven't fully stepped into that purpose yet, a lot of us are hurting because you're the breakthrough person that's supposed to make it happen. But you're too busy trying to fit in with everybody else, and you were never meant to be a person that fit in. You were supposed to be the standout person that leads, whether that was leading by action, leading by words, leading just through what you do on a daily basis. But how are we going to know that if you keep burying yourself because the image of where you think you're supposed to be is now blanketing who you really are supposed to be? We can't operate that way. We gotta find a better way to make progress. And what makes it even worse is that we start believing that because we're not making progress, we must not be good enough. We must not be the ones that are supposed to be out there. We're not called to do this thing, whatever. I find that hard to believe. And more importantly, I think it's disrespectful towards yourself, disrespectful towards your name, disrespectful towards your brand and all the things that you've been working on. Because how can you sit up here and down yourself when there was a time when you actually had belief in yourself? You had a fire in you, you had a passion, you had this goal in mind, and nothing was gonna stop you. And one minor thing happened and you threw the whole thing away. Why? Why did you give up that easily? You was just on fire about it, and now all of a sudden it's gone just like that. Why are you letting somebody who's not strong enough, who's not strong enough, blow out your flame? I don't understand it. Actually, I kind of do. I think because I've been there before, we we have an idea of who we think we're supposed to be. You know, when you're younger, you have these dreams about what you want to do and how you want to grow. And, I'm going to be a celebrity. I'm going to have this, I'm going to have that. And then when you start seeing where you're really supposed to be, you're like, I don't like the path that my life is on. This is ridiculous. I don't want to do this. And I think what ends up happening is we lose sight of who we're truly supposed to be. We're losing sight of everything that was built for us, everything that was meant for us. We're losing sight of those things, mainly because we're taking our eyes off of our path and we're putting our eyes on other people's paths and trying to walk paths that we're never supposed to be on. And then that's when you become isolated and down and depressed. And listen, man, depression is a dark place to be. I know people who have let depression take away everything. And unfortunately, those people are no longer here. And I wish that, there was a way to know how they felt during that time. I wish there was a way to kind of stand there and say, hey, you don't need to do this. I can't control everybody. I can't control everything that happens. But if you're listening to me right now, I can tell you that if you are in a depressed state, if you feel like it is just too much and you are ready to give up, this is your sign to not do that. This is the moment in time and when you take that depression and you say, I'm not going to let you destroy me. I'm not going to grant you victory. I'm not going to let you grow in my life to the point where I stand and do absolutely nothing. I'm going to take back control of who I am and I'm going to move forward through this process. I'm going to weather every storm. I'm going to go through every dark moment. I'm going to go through every obstacle that I have to face because I know in the end, no matter how difficult it gets, I am going to be better because of it. And depression cannot defeat me. Anxiety cannot defeat me. Worry cannot defeat me. I am too strong for these things that try to take me away from who I am. So I hope that you receive that. I hope you believe that. And I hope you decide that this is the moment where I step up and I become better and I do what I need to do in order to truly be successful. And I get it, man. It can be tough. I've had those moments. I just celebrated a milestone birthday. I turned 40, and leading up to those moments, I was just thinking like, man, I'm 40 and oh, there's all these things that I want to do and I haven't done them yet and I want this, I want that, and then like I started thinking about just random things that I had like my podcast. I started thinking about that and I was like, man, I don't have a podcast studio. I don't have a place to call home, and I had like all these dreams about what it would look like by certain episodes, and honestly, I realized that I'm a lot further than what I thought I was going to be. um I remember how long ago was that? When this first kind of came to mind of what I was going to do and how I was going to go after this podcast. I had these moments of what I thought it would look like and where I would be, and here we are. Like, look at how many episodes I've done. Look at the reach that it's gained. Some of my videos have done really well. There's some that don't, but I don't let it discourage me. I post it anyway. I put it out there because it could reach one person, but if one person is better because of it, I've done my job. I've fulfilled that purpose. I've reached out to the people that needed to be reached out to, and I'm using the gift that God gave me. Like I can control that. And another thing I was thinking about was, we get so caught up in comparison. We get so caught up in, well, these people have more than me. Look, I desire for this podcast to really grow and be bigger than what it is. But how can I appreciate 500,000 people following me if I never take the time to truly appreciate the 5 people that took time out of the day to actually follow me? How am I going to be able to accept the bigger audience if I don't take time to accept those that are with me now? The fact that on TikTok I'm close to 400 blows my mind. And that might not be a lot to some, but for me, it's everything because I started off thinking that nobody would pay attention to it. And the majority of the people that follow me are people I don't know. But apparently I'm saying something, I'm doing something. And honestly, I just said, Lord, I'm just gonna trust you. And I'm just gonna say, this is your plan. This is what I want you to do. Like I want you to work through my life. And I know that you'll give me all the things necessary in order to grow. So if I can't appreciate where I'm at right now, then how can I accept the bigger blessing that God has for me? How can I truly be thankful for what's to come if I'm not thankful for where I am right now? And I think we get caught up in the right now because we want the bigger picture quick, fast, and in a hurry. But these things take time. These things take time. It is a process. You have to wake up every single day and go out and actually live the life that you desire. You can't expect people to just give you things. You can't expect people to feel sorry for you and go, woe is me. Well, here, I'm just going to give you this. No, man, like it don't work that way. Like I want to earn it. I want to I want to know that the work that I put in got me to this point. I want to be able to look back and see all of the shortcomings and all of the trials and tribulations, all of the things that tried to stop me, all of those moments where I was crying because I was frustrated because I didn't get a chance to do the things the way I wanted them to, or maybe things didn't work out how I wanted them to. But yet, all of that molded me into where I'm at today. Come on, man. Like, You kidding me? You know how great that is to know that you worked hard? That's the reward. Don't get so caught up in the destination that you lose sight of all the things that you can gain on the journey. Don't get so caught up in that end moment that you're not looking at what you're becoming as you are getting closer to that moment, as you are creating your memories, as you are taking your steps. Don't be so caught up in this is the image of who I'm supposed to be when I get there that you don't pick up on the lessons of what you're going through on the journey itself. You have to take everything that you get and you build on it. That's your foundation. The good, the bad, the days where you way up here, the days where you're low, that's your foundation. You build off of that. Because in your weakest moments, you'll find your strength. And in your strongest moments, you'll be able to improve on the weaknesses. I know it sounds crazy, but you just got to trust that God's got you where you need to be. And the reason why I say down is not out is because not every day you're going to be in a top spot. I love basketball. I look at college basketball all the time. The only consistent number one team right now is South Carolina on the women's side. And you got to remember that last year, they didn't win it all. You feel what I'm saying? So, everybody strives to be number one, but it doesn't always happen. And each week, especially in men's college basketball, number one is changing. It might be consistent for a while and people doing their things, but then there's these upsets that happen. And certain things come along, and then you was at the top spot, and now all of a sudden you just drifting. And next thing you know, you're like, wait a minute. How I go from 1 to 25? How I go from 1 to not even being mentioned? It happens. But how do you handle adversity? How do you walk through the storm knowing that at some point the sun's going to come out? How do you prepare yourself when you know things are about to get difficult? What is your process? Do you cower and hide? Do you hope that somebody will pull you through? Or do you look at it and you say, I think this is going to make me better? And I know it might be terrifying, but I'm going to trust God. And if it's meant for me, I'm going to make it through. If it ain't meant for me, I'll find along the way the path I'm supposed to be on. But I'm going in with the intention that I'm going to embrace everything that comes my way because I know it's going to make me better. And yes, I know that that is a scary thought because you literally have to give up control in order to make that happen. And we are so caught up in wanting to control the narrative. But if you already knew how the story was going to end, why would you read the book in the first place? If you knew how you was going to map out everything in your life and just do it all, there's not a lot of excitement in that. Maybe it's just me. I don't know, but I kind of like that there's these moments where it seems like yeah, I may be going down a certain path, but all of a sudden this door of opportunity comes and I'm just like, where did that come from? How do we even get there? And it's simply because all I did was try to do the best that I could do with what I have. See, being down and out doesn't mean that you're defeated. Feeling depressed doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. It's a good time to reflect and recalibrate. It's a good time to that dream that you wanted to chase. You ain't got nothing to lose. You might as well go for it and just see where it takes you. And don't worry about negative naysayers. Don't worry about people who try to stop your dreams. They just can't see your vision because it was never put in their eyes and their mind in the first place. You see the vision because it's meant for you. You see the path because it's meant for you. You see how successful it's going to be because it's meant for you. They'll see it when it's their time. You'll see it now because it's your time to start right now. So I need you to get up and go for it. I need you to not allow these emotions to pull you away from what you're destined to be, what you're called to do, where you're destined to go, where you're supposed to grow, where you're supposed to plant a seed, where you're supposed to give that encouraging word, where you're supposed to walk alongside somebody and learn the ropes so you can become a leader. All those things that are meant for you. I don't want emotions to pull you away from that. Granted, understanding that life is hard and very unpredictable, and yes, there are some things that you cannot control. But in the end, if you are working hard, if you are trying to go after what is meant for you, and if you're doing it with the best of your ability and giving 100% effort, you may not be able to control everything, but what's going to fall in place is a beautiful plan that's going to get you to where you need to be because you're doing it the right way. You are. It's no accident that you're here. It's not. Because this life is it's a very interesting one, you know. I've talked about this before. I've lost two of my players to gun violence. I actually just lost somebody else who I never coached him, but when I saw him, it was always love when he came around. He didn't make it past 25. I almost lost another person who I did coach. Granted, he got struck, but he'll survive. But I can only imagine what that process is going to be like now. I don't know why these things happen. I wish they didn't. I wish that there was a way we could just eliminate all of these things because I want to see these young people grow. I want to see these kids that I mentor and I coach. I want to see them create a life so they can give back. I do. I I mean, I can sit and ask God why, but his plan is greater than mine. So there's a bigger plan above it, of course. It's helped me to really take things one day at a time and be a father, like a true father, like be around my kids, hear my kids, listen to my kids, make memories with my kids. Like that, it's really helping me to understand that. Not saying that it didn't before, but I don't know. I guess when you start getting older, you start appreciating things that you used to take for granted. But you also start looking at yourself and realizing that like, yeah, you're not really a bad person. Like you've gone through some things maybe. You know, you might have made some mistakes, you might have made some terrible decisions. But somehow, some way you were able to grow from them and become better. And, for me to be able to reflect on that, I was just like, wow, like there's a lot that I have accomplished, and there's still more that I want to accomplish. And I realized, like, I had to learn certain lessons. I had to go through some moments. There are some dark. There's still things that, like, when I go through life, it triggers me. But I've also learned how to process those things. I've learned how to not let them defeat me. I've learned to not look back and allow those memories to take control over where I am right now. It's all a part of the process. And I'm glad that I've grown from said process. And I will just continue to keep applying that lesson to my life daily because that's all I know how to do. And I'm just going to keep doing it one day at a time. And I want the same for you. I don't want you to keep selling yourself short because you keep seeing the end result because it's always been that way. Maybe it's a process that you keep seeing because it's actually meant for you to break the chains of it and break the generational curse. But you can't break anything if you're waiting on somebody else to do it for you. You got to get up and do the work. You might get knocked down, but you're never out. You might slip and fall, but you're able to get back up. You might make a mistake, but you're able to learn from it. You might be mad at yourself, but it'll show you how passionate you are about what you're chasing. It'll let you know, like, this is the right path I'm on. It'll feed the fire and allow you to get back up and say, it's time for me to keep moving forward. So don't you let that depression defeat you. I don't want that to happen. It's happened to too many people. And if you were in that position right now where you were thinking about it, I really hope that you hear this and know that, hey, maybe this is my sign to get up and put that to the side and say, I can't let it destroy me. You may be down, but you're never out. Every day you have a new purpose. You have a new opportunity, you know. another page in the book of life to where you can create that story and say, this is what it looked like yesterday, but today, this is where it changes. Today, this is where it gets better. Today, this is where I break through. That's what I really want that for you. I do. I guess like being anxious always makes you on edge and you're looking at other people and you're hoping that they don't feel that way. So you're always hoping the best for them. I mean, it might be a weird way of getting a positive outlook, but I'll take it. Um, I don't know. I'm gonna use it to my advantage. That's for sure. I just want to see the best in people. I think that we've got enough negativity in the world. It's time to make some changes. There's a lot of game changers out there. There's a lot of people that can make a difference in this world. You are one of those people. You have always been one of those people. You've always been a leader. You've always had something inside of you that is going to make you be successful. But maybe you just haven't taken the time to unlock that yet. And maybe today is the time where you put fear to the side, you put doubt to the side, and you say, you know what? It's time to make a change. It's time for me to grow. It's time to move forward now. And if that's you today, I pray strength and encouragement over your life because I know that road will be tough, but I know it'll be worth it. And if you're still not sure yet, if you're a little nervous, scared of what could be, not 100% believing in yourself yet, I want to tell you that I too was in that same boat. And I found more reasons to walk away from the podcast than to actually produce the podcast. The only difference is that I knew I would regret it. And I didn't want to go through my life with a regret. I did not want to let down younger me. I wanted to see just how far I could go and at least try it and see what happens. And here we are. So, at the end of the day, the only thing that we can really do is give ourselves, an opportunity to try, to give ourselves an opportunity to grow, to give ourselves an opportunity to build. That's all I can do. And I hope you do the same. And so my task for you is to start with today. Put those fears to the side. If you're a praying person, if you're a spiritual person, cast all your anxiety on the Lord because he cares for you and he has a plan for you. I want you all to just go after what it is that you've been trying to chase. I know you've been knocked down. I know the road's been tough. I know that you've been stressed out. I know you're like, man, I don't know if I got time, but I also need you to know that it's just February, okay? Give yourself some grace and pace yourself. And with each day you get and each opportunity that is presented to you, all I want you to do is try your best. And like I used to tell my basketball players, give 100% effort and everything else will fall into place. Don't you give up on yourself. Don't you let these evil emotions defeat you. And if you need some extra encouragement, just remember this. I believe in you. I go believe in yourself, all right? It's the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. I'm Ed. We out.
These thoughts have been in my head. Things I never did. I took some L's, but I'm still here.
I got these thoughts up in my head. I toss and turn about some things I never said. I got regrets about some things I never did. I took some risks and took some L's, but I'm still here. And I know.